What if the chaos in your mind isn't caused by your problems at all, but by a single invisible habit you repeat hundreds of times every day without realizing it? You wake up already tense. Your thoughts jump from yesterday's regrets to tomorrow's anxieties, notifications, expectations, unfinished tasks. Everything feels loud, urgent, overwhelming. And the strangest part is this: even when nothing objectively bad is happening, your mind still feels crowded. The Stoics noticed this problem over 2,000 years ago. They lived without smartphones, without breaking news, without endless feeds. Yet they described the same mental chaos we struggle with today. And they offered a solution so simple, so precise, that once you understand it, your mental noise can drop immediately. Not by positive thinking, not by motivation, not by trying to control everything, but by mastering one core Stoic skill. Today, we're going to uncover it. Why your mind feels chaotic even when life isn't. Most people assume mental chaos comes from external pressure. Too much work, too many responsibilities, too many expectations. But the Stoics made a radical observation. Life itself is rarely chaotic. Our judgments about life are: two people can experience the same event. One remains calm, the other spirals. Same situation, completely different inner worlds. Why? Because mental chaos doesn't come from events. It comes from how we interpret them. Your mind is constantly asking unconscious questions. Is this good or bad? Is this dangerous? Does this threaten me? Should I worry about this? And the moment your mind labels something as bad, unfair, or out of control, it reacts automatically with anxiety, anger, or fear. The problem isn't that thoughts appear. Thoughts will always appear. The problem is that most people believe every thought the moment it arises. And that's where chaos begins. The Stoic insight most people miss. The Stoics divided reality into two categories. What is up to you? What is not up to you? This idea sounds simple, almost obvious, but almost no one actually lives it. You worry about outcomes. You worry about how others perceive you. You worry about the future, the past, the economy, relationships, timing, luck. And none of these things are fully under your control. The Stoics realized something unsettling. Mental suffering begins the moment you treat what is not up to you as if it should be. Every time you argue with reality internally, your mind fractures into tension. You're here, but mentally fighting somewhere else. That inner resistance is what creates noise, and this leads us to the skill itself. The skill: separation of judgment. The Stoic skill that instantly reduces mental chaos is this: separating events from your judgments about them. Most people fuse these two together. Something happens. Emotional reaction. No pause. No space. The Stoics inserted a gap. They trained themselves to say, "This is the event. This is my interpretation of the event. These are not the same thing." This separation is everything, because once you see that your suffering comes from interpretation, not reality, you regain control. Let's make this practical. How mental chaos is actually created. Imagine this. You send a message, no reply. Immediately, your mind fills the silence. They're ignoring me. I said something wrong. I'm not important. Notice what happened. Silence is neutral. Your interpretation is not. The Stoics would say, you are disturbed not by the absence of a reply, but by the meaning you assign to it. The same applies to criticism, delays, mistakes, uncertainty, rejection. The event is small, the story is enormous, and that story is optional. Why this skill works instantly. Most self-help techniques take time because they try to change emotions directly. The Stoics didn't do that. They changed the source of emotions. Emotion follows judgment. Change the judgment, and the emotion reorganizes itself naturally. This is why the effect feels immediate. You're not suppressing anxiety. You're removing the fuel that feeds it. When you stop adding meaning, your mind becomes quieter on its own. The inner commentary you never notice. Your mind narrates constantly, but most of this narration happens below awareness. This shouldn't be happening. I can't handle this. This means something bad. The Stoics trained themselves to catch the commentary, not to fight it, not to argue with it, just to label it. That is a judgment. The moment you label a thought as a judgment, it loses authority. It becomes a suggestion, not a command. This alone can reduce mental noise dramatically. Practicing the skill in real time. Here's how the Stoics practiced this daily. When something triggered them, they asked, "What exactly happened? What story am I telling myself about it? Is this story necessary?" Most of the time, the answer to question 3 was no. Not, is it true, but is it useful? This subtle shift changes everything. You stop trying to prove your thoughts wrong. You simply stop feeding them. Calm is not passivity. A common misunderstanding is that Stoic calm means indifference. It doesn't. The Stoics acted decisively. They just refused to panic internally. You can take action without mental chaos. In fact, clear action becomes easier when your mind is quiet. Chaos doesn't improve performance. It only drains energy. Why modern life makes this skill essential. We live in an environment designed to provoke judgment, outrage, comparison, urgency, fear. Every headline pushes interpretation before understanding. Without this Stoic skill, your mind becomes a battlefield of borrowed reactions. But when you separate event from judgment, external noise loses its grip. You don't absorb everything you encounter. You choose. The moment everything changes. There's a quiet moment that appears once you practice this. Something happens. Your mind prepares to react. And then you pause. That pause is freedom. In that space, chaos dissolves. Not because life becomes easy, but because your mind stops fighting reality. The Stoic definition of inner order. For the Stoics, inner peace wasn't happiness. It was order. A mind that responds instead of reacts. A mind that sees clearly. A mind that doesn't add unnecessary weight to existence. Mental chaos is excess meaning. Calm is precision. Applying this skill today. Today, try this. The next time you feel overwhelmed, don't ask, "How do I calm down?" Ask, "What judgment am I adding right now?" Remove it. Not everything needs meaning. Not everything is personal. Not everything is a threat. And when you stop turning neutral events into emotional emergencies, your mind finally has room to breathe. The quiet power of the Stoic mind. The Stoics didn't promise a life without difficulty. They promised something better, a mind that doesn't collapse under it. The skill you learn today isn't dramatic. It won't impress anyone, but it will change your inner experience immediately. Because the moment you separate reality from interpretation, mental chaos loses its foundation. And in that silence, clarity begins.